Welcome, Joe. To start with, you're leading the Health 10x Accelerator program at UNSW. Tell us a little bit about your background that led you to lead this program.
Sure. Great to be here. So a bit about myself and my background and how it relates to, I guess, the Health 10x program. So my background, I'm a PhD by training. I developed a few cancer diagnostic assays. At the end of my PhD, I was really excited about developing technologies and bringing it to market. At the time, I didn't necessarily know that it was a commercial opportunity, but as you develop it, you start to see what it could really be. And that pushed me into entrepreneurship. Since then, I haven't stopped. I really love the space. And so now I've co-founded 2 different medical technology startups. And I love what the Health 10x program does, founders, and I'm here to help other people in, I guess, similar situations do the same.
And so an accelerator program exists to wrap resources and a network and the right knowledge around ambitious, energetic startup founders. Specifically with Health 10x, what is the focus of Health 10x specifically that differentiates it from the other kind of streams of the 10x Accelerator at UNSW?
Sure. So the Health 10x Accelerator is one of 5 accelerator programs. Our core focus is to support startups that are developing solutions in the health and medical space. And that is a remarkably challenging endeavor. So talking to the values or the wrapping of the program and bringing values in to support entrepreneurs, it's covering the really key domains for developing a medical innovation. For example, regulation is always a big one. As a medical device, what classification do you fall into? What does that mean for your business? And how do you prepare for that? And all of those kind of consequential things of timelines, funding, where are you going to find investments and research collaborators?
So in that topic of, so Health 10x is for health innovations.
Yes.
If we think about almost like a spectrum of difficulty, on one end, you've got software for the healthcare industry, maybe software I might use to book a telehealth appointment at my local doctor. You've also got medical devices that might be implanted or used in diagnosing or treating a disease. And then you have therapeutics, something I might ingest as an intervention to treat or cure a disease. Is Health 10x optimized or focused along that spectrum? There's a really broad church there of health innovation.
Yes, that's a really good question and the best question coming into the Health 10x Accelerator. So what do we best support? So therapeutics is something that we're less focusing on. We have another program, Biotech or Bio10x. Where we operate is, yes, we are comfortable supporting those kind of hardware pieces or medical devices that can be, implantables and very, very high risk from a regulatory view. And then we also do support on the other end of the spectrum, the digital health. And that falls into 2 broad buckets. One is that app or telehealth appointment or platform. We also love to deal with, especially more recently, looking at machine learning, AI, and how we can use that for healthcare purposes. And to that end, I guess we have 2 best examples. 23 Strands came into the program, I think 3 years ago now. They use AI and ML to analyze WGS or whole genome sequencing and large, massive patient data sets. And from that, they can tell you or guide your therapy that's personalized specifically to you. And the second one is more recently, one of my favorites that came through the program was Deep Meds. They're using machine learning algorithms to reduce the amount of contrast agent injection that you need to look at MRI. And at face value, that may not make sense to a lot of people, but it reduces the cost dramatically and the side effects that patients might experience.
So those are great examples. And so when we're thinking about the process of health innovation, some of the things that are unique, you touched on, there are some specific regulations that companies, if they want to sell a product, often you need to sort of demonstrate effectiveness or efficacy, which means you're going to have to do a lot of work and generate evidence well before you can collect money from customers for your product. And so obviously that's a huge focus area of Health 10x. Are there any other focus areas of Health 10x that might be different from other accelerator programs? Again, if someone's considering applying to Health 10x, there are many accelerators they could apply to. Why choose a specialist health tech accelerator as opposed to a generic accelerator?
I mean, there's so many values. I'm trying to think of how exactly are we especially unique. I think number one, connecting with a really broad and powerful ecosystem. This cannot be underscored enough in the health sphere. You are often, as a founder, operating between different stakeholders, be clinicians, and that can be GPs or specialists. It can be the regulatory people, the industry stakeholders, manufacturers. So piecing that all together is really, really challenging. I think we do it especially well. And the second part is that our team are excellent at what we do and supporting medical technology startups. One of that is funding. It's enormously challenging. And so what we have to do is kind of wrap around teams that investment landscape and pathway specific to them. AI, ML, they are really good examples of products that can take a lot of money and a lot of time, as are the hardware devices where it's 5 to 10 years before you may ever see $1 in revenue. But we're there with you the entire way, helping you.
And so either sort of 23 strands or deep mids or another example, when you kind of think about the benefits, that kind of before and after from an accelerator program, if people are considering applying to this, what are some of the ways they can think about the benefits from actually participating in the program?
Sure. So I might go back to 23 strands. They came in as a team that were already highly capable. They had already raised quite a bit of money already. And so the question was, what brings you into this particular program? And I don't know if they knew it at the time, but they really nailed what our unique value proposition can be. And that's connecting to that research ecosystem, both within UNSW, but also collaborators that we worked with previously. From that, coming from the program, they partnered with Virtus Health, who have been an incredible support. And second is they landed on their first business case or use case, which was fertility. This is challenging for a lot of startups, which is what's my first use case? What's my first, payer of my particular solution? So I'm really happy that we kind of guided them along that path to land on fertility. And over time, who knows, all verticals they could possibly go into. But that I feel would be an enormous add to teams coming into our program. Who's your first use case and where do you best put your efforts?
Yeah, and as you said, we'll help wrap a network around you. If you need to build relationships with clinicians or key opinion leaders, it's really important in health innovation. We can make some of those introductions or at least help you speak the language to attract some of those people. Selection into Health 10x also comes with a pre-seed investment. If you could talk to specifically for Health 10x, for those that are selected, what is the financial investment available and on what terms?
Sure. So we're super fortunate. We partnered with the George Institute for Global Health since we started in 2019. More recently, we partnered with Australian Medical Angels and Virtus Health. And so from the investment side, there's 4 different buckets. The first is UNSW, which is totaled at 10,000. The George Institute provide the same, so 10,000. Australian Medical Angels, using their, syndicate platform, raise up to 50K. Last year's participants were very fortunate that it climbed up to 70, so each team received 90, which is awesome to see. And then Virtus Health, they specifically focus on women's health and reproductive startups. And that investment can look up to $100,000 per team in the right area.
And roughly what are the terms for that money?
Sure. So the terms are, this is very unique to an accelerator program. There's no valuation cap in the terms and a 20% discount. I hope I'm not getting this wrong. So very standard terms. So, I've been on both sides of the table of giving investment and receiving investment personally. And those terms are super reasonable, especially the no valuation cap. And I guess that really aligns with UNSW Founders' philosophy of we're there to help you. We want to see you grow and thrive. So no valuation cap. That really speaks to UNSW wanting to really support these startups, grow to success.
Absolutely. It's one thing that differentiates the Health 10x program for other accelerators. We have a philanthropic basis to why we're operating. We're not here to make a financial return. Hopefully we will, but if we do, we'll recycle that into the next generation of startup founders. We don't have limited partners that we have to pay money back to. So yeah, we are a philanthropically optimized accelerator.
We do encourage unicorns. So if they become unicorns, fantastic. And yeah, we can always feed it back to the community.
Absolutely. You did touch on the fact that you're a founder as well. You've raised capital. You also applied to Health 10x.
Yes.
You weren't selected, but we selected you we hired you a couple of months later. I'm just curious, I think that gives you a fantastic amount of empathy for what it's actually like to be a startup founder, building a medical device, going through this journey. Based on your experience of actually being a founder, building this product, heading towards clinical trials, having raised money, what do you think are the sort of the advantages that gives you in what you bring to being part of leading and delivering and the Health 10x program, being there to coach and support founders?
So this isn't groundbreaking, but you don't know what you don't know until you go through it. It's not enough that you may see one or two use cases where they've gone through a really tough time. I'm, I guess, fortunate or unfortunate to have experienced how challenging it can really be as a founder. It's great to have ambition to think you can change the world tomorrow. The reality is that it's, especially in Australia, incredibly difficult, especially in the medical and healthcare space where, as I mentioned, it costs quite a bit of money. The time to actually getting where you're generating revenue can be quite long. I think I enjoy and I think it's important to support founders through that journey and to offer what are those interim kind of, I don't know if it's supports or I want to say insights, but it sounds a bit cheesy, but what are the insights that are helping you through those tough spots or to getting you to a place where you're a global company and you're helping people, internationally? Funding is tough. That'll be my takeaway is Australia funding is tough. To get there is tough. And I try to, I guess, bring opportunities that can help bridge them through those times.
When we think about the founders that have previously been selected into and completed the Health 10x Accelerator, as I think about that as a group, there's an extraordinary diversity there. We've had people straight out of or still at university. We've had clinicians who are practicing really as a clinician full-time, doing a startup full-time as well. We've had people that are academics, that are commercializing research. We've had people that have long careers in medical industry that are now kind of career switching into a startup. So there's a lot of different personas that we support all mixed together. Any advice you've got for people? Because, I think we see people that don't apply that should. Anything you can share with people to help them understand that they should be putting in an application? Like, we're here to help them.
Sure. So I have, I guess, two things to say. That we have two programs. There's a pre-X or a pre-accelerator program. Everyone should apply to this because we give you all of the fundamentals of what you need to know to build that company. And it's very difficult to be across all of the domains that you need to be across to, I guess, one, ensure your business doesn't collapse, but also thinking further ahead, what are the things that I need to install or think of in my business now that will help me down the line? We get people who are incredibly technologically capable. They know how to build a product. They may know how to put into trials. They may know that there's some interest in a particular area, but that's really only maybe half of the story. There's a lot more to learn. Our pre-X equips teams very well to do that. And the full accelerator program, we help you do that. The second part is what do we do to help people? What's a good profile? We see exactly as you said, we see those clinicians, industry people, and researchers. I think that the key part is to have a technology that will make impact and improve lives. We see success across all of the personas. It really, for us at Health 10x, it matters what are you developing. We can help you build everything around that. But to what are your interests? What do you want to see in the world? And if that is the case that you want to help the world globally, we're fantastic. As a side gig that you enjoy doing, it's really challenging. Yes, we can help you build a business around that, but I think you need to know very early on which one are you going to be.
And in terms of tips for people's applications, we get hundreds. How do people stand out? What advice do you have for how they can inspire us with the most compelling application to kind of stand out from the crowd?
It's good timing you ask this because we're going through applications now. The key is your solution may be able to help a number of different conditions. So I think number one is identify one condition that you're going to help, and then two, have the supporting data and information to support that claim. It's great that you maybe want to help oncology or cancer patients, cardiovascular, or fertility, but each of those verticals or therapeutic areas is so detailed and complex. What we want to see is that you understand your first customer and first vertical or therapeutic area, and that you know the data behind it. So number one, hit a condition. Number two, pull up the data and statistics and put it into your application so we know that you know what it means.
Great. Is there anything else that comes to mind that you think would be really helpful when you kind of speaking directly to people who are considering doing the Health 10x Accelerator?
I think the key is, well, talk to us. I know I'm biased being in the program manager role, but I know what it's like as a startup founder. It may not be obvious how supportive and helpful an accelerator can be. At least talk to us and join our ecosystem, because you'll see all of the things that you may not know or realize. And then we can slowly either coach or bring you into the program to build you and your company. Accelerators are enormously helpful. I can't express or overstate that enough.
Great. Thank you, Joe. Looking forward to Health 10x.
Me too.